collaboration with Bell to Bells to bring you an exciting interview with the arm collector, Jessica Troy. So how are you doing today, Jessica?
Hey, yeah, I'm pretty good. It's a good start to my week. So
That's
I'm pretty
right.
excited, yeah.
Now, the last time we spoke, the world was kind of in a full-fledged lockdown, but since then, it's slowly started to open itself back up. So how would you describe your overall morale of this year as a whole?
Oh, wow. The overall, I'd say, is a bit of a roller coaster. It's a bit like up and down, up and down, up and down, like waiting for shows to come back, waiting for training to come back, being scared that it's going to be taken away from you at any time to go back into lockdown or something like that. But I've been pretty lucky over here in New South Wales of Australia. Once we open back up fully, it hasn't been that bad. So we're still open. We're doing shows now, so that's pretty good, I think.
Now, you were away from the ring for 5 months, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So how did you stay active and motivated during this time as you awaited your return to the squared circle?
That was hard. Because the gyms were closed as
Yeah.
well. So normally I go to the gym like 5 days a week and I go to training 3 days a week as well. So I had to, luckily one of my housemates here had a pretty good home gym set up. So she had some weights and some resistance bands and like all that kind of stuff. And we had a wrestle board, so that was okay. But then tried to do running as well. And I realized how hard running is outside because that
Hmm.
just sucks. But it was good to do something different. I actually very much enjoyed the home gym stuff for the first month, I think. So I was lucky enough to be able to go back to training, but we had no contact sort of training. So we had COVID safe like temperature, sign in, hand sanitizer, all that kind of stuff. But then we just like still distance ourselves from each other. So it was basically like one massive workout for like an hour and a half. So that was pretty good.
Now, when you finally returned back to action, it was actually in a championship match at PWA's Call to Arms against one of your best friends, Charli Evans. So how was that
Exactly.
reuniting with her?
Oh, that was really fun because I was one of the positives from this was that she had to come home. Well, she didn't have
Hmm.
to, but she decided to come home. So I was pretty happy about that. So I got to see my best friends and we got to wrestle, which is always so much fun. I love wrestling her. We just have the best time. And yeah, I really enjoyed that match. I thought we both did really well. So I was pretty happy with that.
Definitely was. I was so glad that PWA finally had a pay-per-view back. It had been
I
months
know.
and it was so worth the wait though. So great.
I know the entire show was really, really good. I think everyone backstage is just so like high off the atmosphere of just being back at the show, even though there's no one in the crowd. It didn't really matter. Like, we were just happy to be wrestling again and performing. So it was awesome.
I bet. Now, what are your thoughts about Charlie officially being back on the Australian wrestling scene, and what do you think she brings to this PWA division?
Oh, she brings so much. Like she has so much like more experience now. She's gone to the UK. She's learned so much over there. She's been to Japan. She's learned so much over there. So every time I actually step into the ring with her, I just find that I'm learning stuff as well. Like she just has all these little things of knowledge. I'm like, oh my God, of course, that makes so much sense. So I think it's really good, and I think it's really beneficial for everyone over here to be able to step into the ring with her, especially that she's in the PWA premiership, so she gets to wrestle all those different people. So I think that'll be really cool.
Now, what do you think is the coolest thing that you've actually learned from her since you're saying, oh, like you learned a lot from her? What's one takeaway you have from watching or just learning from her?
Um, I'm not too sure. There's so much. There's a lot of different things, but I think just how she puts different things together, I'd say. Yeah.
You've been PWWA champion for an impressive 500 days now. So, how do you plan to elevate yourself even more as you now sit atop this division?
Oh, I'm just waiting for a challenger, really. That's why I've started doing at the last PWA show, was it like 2 days ago or something? We did an more arms for Jess open challenge, and two people obviously accepted that. So now I'm just waiting for someone to come along and actually come along and challenge me for the belt. So hopefully I can just elevate this title to be equal enough with the PWA heavyweight title. I want it to be like an equal kind of thing. So hopefully I'm doing that. It's easy considering it's main title at the moment because Kate Minogue is in Melbourne, so it's a bit hard for him to come up and defend his title.
Now, I know last year they had an intergender match for the title. Do they still stand with that, or has it kind of reverted back to just a female title?
No, it's definitely still an intergender title belt.
Okay.
It's just also the girls can challenge for it whenever they want. So I was just lucky enough that on the weekend I got to wrestle Steph and Charlie again because why not?
Yeah, too. We got to talk about that spot where Charlie is on top of Steph's shoulders, and then you go to the top rope and bring down the knees onto the both of them into the crowd. So, how did your adrenaline feel in that moment, and how did you feel getting back up from that crazy spot?
That was actually really, really, really cool. I very much enjoyed it. It obviously sucked, but that's okay. Yeah, so we had Charlie on Steph's shoulders, and I jumped off and meteored Charlie through a whole like contraption of chairs that Steph had built earlier on for some reason. So yeah, that was really, really fun. And then Charlie had to be taken away, so I was reaching out for her. It was a really cute moment right there, and there's a really cute picture of us, so that's the main thing. As long as we get a cute picture from it, then I'm happy.
Friendship goals for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, we know you are part of the iconic Nations faction within Australia, but how did it feel to kind of have your main event match at PWA WAP invaded by a rising stable Generation Now last month?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I just kind of try to stay out of stuff like that. Like, I know I'm a part of the nations, but I'm also not so much a team player. Like, when I'm in a tag match, obviously I'm a team player, but when it's just everything else, it's just for me. So I don't really need to be a part of the generation now. I don't really need to be a part of the older people. So I'm just happy to be in the middle and do my own thing, focus on my belt. So, yeah. I think it's cool, though, the whole generation now thing. I think they seem to work really well together. So I
One
just don't
key
want to be a part of
element,
it.
though, of this generation now is kind of the betrayal we saw from the former flag bearer of the nation's Kingsley. So, what are your
Yeah,
thoughts on her essentially jumping ship and joining this new faction?
I think it's cool. She's sticking up to her uncle. She has to do what she has to do to get noticed. So I don't see why not. She's a bad bitch, so she can do whatever she wants.
You can't kill her.
No.
And Generation Now encompasses a lot of rising stars in that collective group. But for you personally, who do you think are some up and coming stars on the Australian scene that either have the most potential or more people need to pay attention to, you think?
I was asked this recently in a podcast, and I really, because it's a person who I want to wrestle at the moment, so I'm really, really high on Kai Drake right now. So obviously he has a thing going on with the velocities because he stole their tag belts without actually winning
Yeah.
them. But I would really, really enjoy a singles match with Kai Drake. I think that would be really fun. Oh, painful but fun.
Very painful too. Last year he had a crazy spot where I forget who he was tagging against Lux and they like broke a chandelier and
Oh
he's
yeah,
done some crazy spots and I would love to see what you two could come up with in the ring for sure.
yeah. No, that would definitely be a lot of fun. I'd love to wrestle Kai Drake sometime soon. I'm sure it will happen eventually because there's not many people in PWA or even just in Australia that I haven't actually wrestled. So hopefully it happens soon.
That is true. Now, switching gears here to something, you were recently honored with a spot on the PWI Top 100 Women's list for the first time ever. So, congratulations on
Yay,
that.
thank you, thank you.
As entrant number 91. So, what was your initial reaction when you found this out?
I was honestly really, really surprised because I've never been on that list before. And normally it's like, I don't know, they see some girls from Australia, but it might be like the Iconics or anyone who's signed by WWE. So even just to be like 91, I think that's incredible for me to be 91 out of all the female wrestlers in the world while I'm all the way over here in Australia in a lockdown where I can't even travel to show everyone that I'm still here. So I think that's really cool. I was very, very proud of myself and very happy. Smiling all day, really. I was at work just being like, oh, how cool.
Yeah. Did you brag about it? You have to take that moment to brag a little bit, right?
I didn't tell it. I don't know. My whole family was pretty proud, and my friends and stuff from training were pretty happy as well. It was cool to see lots of Australians on there. Like you had Shazza, and then you had Charlie really, really high up on the list as well. So that was awesome to see.
Yeah. How did it feel to actually represent Australia on such an elite list of women's wrestlers today?
Yeah, and it was amazing because sometimes I always forget that people are watching us down here. It feels like we're so far away and isolated from the rest of the world that I get worried that no one else is focusing on Australian wrestling. But we have really, really, really good wrestlers down here. So I want the entire world to see it.
Now, shortly after this PWI women's list was revealed, it was announced that PWA would begin competing in a 16-person tournament titled the Premiership. So, how was it competing against your mentor, Jack Bonza, in the first round?
You know, I try to look all tough, but it's pretty scary because he's like, what, twice the size of me? But it was hard. It was definitely a lot hard. Like, but we've never had a singles match before, so that was really cool.
Really?
Yeah, it was really fun. And like always, I just learned so much. And I reckon he went a bit easy on me, but that's okay. I'll take it.
It's okay.
It ended up in the draw.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Always better than a loss.
always better than a loss than in a tournament because I'll take the 1 point.
Now, besides yourself, who do you think poses the biggest threat to win this tournament?
That's so hard because obviously I think I should win my bracket, so I'm very
You,
much set on that. As long as I win my bracket, then I think I can focus on the last match later. So I guess it would be someone from the other bracket. Like you have Charlie in there, that's pretty hard to beat, I think. But then someone like even Sam Osborne's on such a roll lately, I can see him taking it. But then you also have Mick Moretti in there, so it's like who knows? There's so many names, and I'm like, oh, that person could win. That person can win. Oh, so it's very hard to prepare myself for what the last match, hopefully when I win, is going to be.
what would it mean for you to actually win this tournament?
It'll be pretty cool, I think. It'll just like really solidify myself as one of the top main people in PWA, I think. Like obviously I have the title belt, but even just something extra to show like, oh, I'm here, I'm a main event player. Everyone needs to come challenge me. So yeah.
And you would be the best of the best, girl.
Exactly, I really would be because they're all incredible.
I feel like, too, in a sense, as the PWWA champion, you've kind of been the face of I get, Australia's all about intergender wrestling, but the women's division, you've essentially been the face of the women's division for a year and a half now. So do you feel any pressure to kind of carry this division? There's so many talented women there, but have you ever felt the pressure to kind of carry and be this face, even if you don't want to admit it? Because I know you're very humble. How does it feel to be the face, and do you feel any pressure?
I don't know. I don't think I feel much pressure in it, really. I don't really think about it because I am surrounded by all these amazing, powerful females that I'm like, oh, they don't need me to show them off. They can do it for themselves. Like you have Madison Eagle, Shazza, Kingsley, Charlie, all these amazing people. Steph, like they're all good at doing what they do, so I don't think they need me.
If you're ever having an off day, though, how does Jessica Troy lift herself up before a match or a performance?
Oh, that's a really good question. What do I do? I'm having an off day. Oh, probably just I talk to my mum.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Is
I'd probably give her a call and be like, Mum, help me. And she just fixes my problems right away. So that's probably what I would do.
but you've probably gained a confidence in yourself over the last few years. You probably don't have a lot of off days, but we all do. So at least you
Oh
have a
no,
way
yeah,
to
I think
combat it. Mhm.
everyone definitely has their off days. It comes and goes, especially during this year. I think everyone's had a lot of off days. So whenever I'm having an off day, I like talk to my mum or just lay in my bed and let myself feel like that because what else can you do?
That's a mood right there, girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, you're obviously known as the arm collector. So, is there any particular arm in the world right now that you want to personally add to your collection?
Oh, there's so many. I'd honestly take anyone's. Like to be able to travel anywhere, I think right now would be insane. So to go to back to the States and just wrestle anyone over there, that'd be pretty cool. Or even UK, anywhere like that would be awesome. So I don't know, open for anyone. Anyone that'll take me.
And speaking of arms, you recently began crafting and creating new arm merchandise for yourself. So, like, it's just crazy. How did you construct and like configure and craft these amazing arm-shaped earrings and necklaces? Can you tell me
Yeah.
more about that process?
It's actually quite fun. I really enjoy doing it. So I have like this arm mold and I make the clay arms pretty easily with all these different designs on there. Like I watched a whole bunch of clay earring making things on YouTube and stuff and Instagram. So I was like, oh, that's fun. I could do that. And then my mum used to make earrings when she was younger. So she taught me how to like use the wire and actually make the proper earrings by hand. So it's all completely handmade by me. So yeah, it's pretty fun.
That's some pretty cool merchandise too. And I know
Yeah.
you're a big wrestling fan too. What do you think? No. Who do you think has the most exciting piece of merchandise or the best overall design in Australia? Who's one person's besides yours whose merch we
Mm.
should be grabbing?
I am always really impressed by Kingsley's merch. I love
Yeah,
all her
she
t-shirt
makes her own
designs.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I like it when people like do their own stuff. Obviously, not everyone can because I can't draw my own things, but I really, really enjoy all her shirt designs. So I think everyone should go pick up some of those.
Definitely. Wrestlermerch.com, correct?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And now with 2020 being a crazy year for a lot of wrestlers, can you tell us more about what you have in store for your fans and hopefully a more uplifting 2021?
So 2021, I'd love to just keep Australian wrestling more on the map and really push that and show the world what we can do. And I definitely want to win this PWA premiership and also find an actual challenger for my PWA title belt. So those are the three things I really want to work on. Um, Hopefully travel sometime in the future, but I'm not holding my breath on that. I think it might be a bit longer for that kind of stuff, but hopefully soon.
Speaking of traveling though, if you could like let's say the world just miraculously like
Mm.
recovered, where would you love to just go for the first time that you haven't?
I'd love to go to Japan. I've never been to Japan before, so I think that style of wrestling would be very interesting and beneficial for me. So I think that's my next goal.
I would love to see you in Japan. That'd
Yeah,
be
I'd
great.
love
That'd
that.
be great.
Yeah.
Now, lastly, Bell to Bells is all about female empowerment and growing women's wrestling. So, can you tell me about one or two females in wrestling who particularly inspire or you feel the most empowered by?
Probably the people I see all the time. I'm the most inspired by Kingsley and Charlie and Steph and Shazza and Madison. Those are the ones that I feel most empowered by. The ones I see at training every single week and the ones I see at my shows and that push me to be a better person. So
What
that's
about
who.
them particularly? I know Madison too, who kind of
Mm,
trains everyone at PWA. What
yeah.
about Madison has inspired you the most since training with her?
Oh, just her, I think her attitude to it and just how she believes that we can do anything that the boys can do. Like at training, if we're doing something hard, she won't change it for us just because we're girls. She'll like, no, we're gonna do the spot the same way. So yeah, just the way that she believes that we can be just as tough and just as good as the boys are, I think.
And you definitely are, girl.
Yeah, thank you.
And before I let you go, can you please tell the listeners where they can find you on all your social media?
Definitely. So you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jessica Troy Pro. And if you'd like to, you can follow my Facebook page. It's just Jessica Troy. And to see all my merchandise that's available on Wrestler Merch.
Well, thank you
Which
so
sadly
much.
only shipping to Australia at the moment, but hopefully sometime soon it'll be shipping everywhere else.
Yeah, hopefully a lot of people's big cartels are down right now because shipping is
Yeah.
like it's crazy right now, this world.
Yeah. So hopefully that all works out.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Jessica. It's always a pleasure to chat with you.
No, thank you for having me. I had another great time. Thank you.
And don't forget to follow myself at It's Ella J on Twitter and Bell to Bells for more exclusive interviews, guys. Thank you again, Jessica.
No, thank you.